This is my audience, Abby and Brandon and his puppy, I don't know her name. Okay, I did my speech over David Foster Wallace. This is water. Okay. From the beginning, David Foster Wallace repeatedly reminded his listeners of how regular his commencement speech he was giving was just like any other. However, the deeper he got into his speech, the more irregular and spectacular it became. On April 26, 2009, Tom Bissell in the New York Times described how usually when graduation caps are thrown into the air, the commencement speech is forgotten. Wallace managed to avoid this fate, not because it was great, though it was. Thanks to my high school English teacher, I know of Wallace and his speech, This is Water, given to Kenyon College on May 21, 2005. The early life of David Foster Wallace, history of his speech, analysis of his speech will lead to the three combined together to form betterment of society. Born on February 26, 1962 in New York, David Foster Wallace wrote journalistic pieces, short stories, novels, and what I know him best for, This is Water. His family moved to Illinois when he was young, and Wallace played tennis, becoming a regionally ranked player. Oh my God. His father was a philosophy professor, and his mother was an English teacher. He attended college in Massachusetts and wrote the novel The Broom of the System for his senior English thesis. He was an English/philosophy double major, and in his philosophy studies, he focused on model logic. Wallace received his bachelor's degree and then headed to University of Arizona to pursue his master's degree in creative writing. In 1987, while Wallace was still in graduate school, The Broom of the System was published. The book put him firmly on the literary map and also making him something of a rock star in the graduate program. Another accomplishment from his Arizona years was that he began thinking his substance abuse was problematic and attended group meetings for his addiction. One of many short stories, Girl with Curious Hair, would appear next in 1989. Once finishing with Arizona, Wallace was accepted to another graduate program, this time in philosophy at Harvard University. He left and moved to Syracuse to be near novelist and poet Mary Karr, where he had a relationship. The next novel, Infinite Jest, took place in Syracuse, where Wallace did most of his writing. Wallace's past would form a backbone for this novel, which would go on the landing on best of lists nationwide. Infinite Jest was compared to Don DeLeo and William Gaddis. David Foster Wallace starts off his speech with the example. There are these two young fish swimming along, and they happen to meet an older fish swimming the other way. The other fish stops and asks, "How's the water?" And the two young fish swam on for a bit, and then eventually one of them looks over at another and asks, "What the hell is water?" Tom Bissell again describes how the essay covers subjects including the difficulty of empathy, the importance of being well-adjusted, and the essential lonesomeness of adult life. In addition, Wallace's speech suggests that overall purpose of higher education is to be able to consciously choose how to perceive others, think about meaning, and act appropriately in everyday life. He argues that the freedom acquired through education is the ability to be adjusted, conscious, and sympathetic. The point of the fish story is that important realities are often ones that are hardest to see and talk about. The day-to-day trenches in adult existence can have a life or death importance. What sets aside This is Water commencement speech from any other speech I have heard, watched, or read is that he talks about what no one else would: the adulthood of boredom, routine, and petty frustration. Wallace's Wallace promoted betterment of society by explaining the real meaning behind education, freedom of education, and understanding how to think. He repeats how education doesn't have everything to do with knowledge, but simply awareness of one's surrounding. I will continue to choose David Foster Wallace, This Is Water, as my favorite speech because he simply slows down time, forcing me to look around.